Mm. Man, this food is good. Oh, hello. No, I'm not sure where they went. Why? Huh. That's odd. Yeah, I can check up on them. Bet they're hiding in the bathroom. It is kind of loud in here. And I know how they get at family functions. You doing okay in there? Oh. Oh boy. Be calm. Okay, what do you need? You want me to go, or... Okay, coming in. Hey. You doing okay? Look at me. Hold my hands. We're gonna take a couple of breaths, okay? Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more time, ready? And this time, when we inhale, we're going to hold it and we're going to squeeze our whole body, just like before. Ready? Breathe in. Breathe out. There we go. Now, tell me 3 things about the rug you're sitting on. I know you're good. Just humor me. Well, I did just tell you you're sitting on it, so that's technically cheating, but I'll allow it. What else? It's fuzzy. Good. And an ugly-ass screen. There's my best friend. Yeah. I'm always gonna be here for you. Yeah, no, absolutely. I've been there. This isn't the first time I've helped a friend out, and this isn't gonna be the last, and you're my best friend, so I'd want to be there for something like this, you know? So, what do you need? A distraction, huh? I can do that. You want to talk about something, or do you want me to just ramble and you can just listen? Yeah, I can do a ramble, but, what about? Anything? Are you sure? 'Cause once I start, it's really hard for me to stop. Alright, well, you asked for it. So there's this book called Anne of Green Gables, written by Lucy Montgomery in 1908, about an orphan named Anne Shirley, who gets adopted by 2 siblings, Merlin and Matthew Cuthbert. Now, originally, they had asked for a boy because they needed help around the farm because they were old, and this is the 1800s, and women weren't, like, considered strong, and all that, so when they get a girl, they're like, oh no, a girl, but then she ends up winning them over anyway, and they keep her, and the rest of the story consists of her growing up and winning over the community, despite her being a redheaded orphan, because people were really weird about both of those things back then, being redheaded and an orphan, which is really messed up. Like, why? Like, I mean, I know this is like the 1800s and people have have a very old fashioned, shall we say, mentality, but like, I don't know, like, I just feel like that's so arbitrary, like the color of your hair, why are people like so, why are people so obsessed with this? Like, I don't understand. And then like being an orphan, like, okay, and like, do you think she asked? I know it's a classist thing, like, I know the reasoning behind it, but like, it's so silly, you know, like, she doesn't have parents. Do you think she asked for that? I don't know. Anyway, but I was either a preteen or a teenager. I can't remember when I first stumbled upon my mom's collection of the TV movie series from the 1980s and our vast DVD collection. But if nothing else, I will say it's everything. It was very, I mean, it's about like a young girl who, very much stands out. She's, very strong spirited. She's smart. She's intelligent. She's kind. And she doesn't back down, when she really, really, really believes in something. And she loves to read and she loves to write and she's really creative, and has like a flair for the dramatic, and she talks a whole lot. That's kind of her thing. And if you can't tell, by this ramble, why, just me going on about like this book, if you can't tell by now, yes, it was very, very, very formative. It was very much a cornerstone of my formative years, and how it kind of helped me decide the kind of person I wanted to be, the kind of person I wanted to aspire to be. I don't know, like, she is incapable of being herself, and I love that about her, and she doesn't, you know, it's good. It's good, okay? I mean, the fact that it's a story about women in the 1800s who takes control of her agency, and is just as empowered in her healthy marriage as she was before, is arguably a feminist narrative that still stands today. 'Cause, I don't know. Okay, so let me kind of explain. So in the, in the original books, she, you know, because I mentioned she's creative, right? So she ends up going to college for writing and gets a scholarship and everything, and she writes books and all that. And in the original books, she writes and then she stops writing and becomes a mom. But that doesn't necessarily take away her agency or her character or anything. I don't know. It's, again, this was written, I forget when, but like it was written at a time where, like, you know, like a healthy marriage is kind of very much a big part of being a woman, at that time, and kind of, you know, her role in the household. But what I liked about the books is that even though she, you know, gave up her writing, like, it doesn't paint her as less powerful, less fleshed out. You know what I mean? Like, she's still Anne Shirley. She's still, I don't know. It just, to me, it didn't really demean her just because she decided to get married and have kids. Women should have the choice to do whatever it is that they want. That's kind of the thing, isn't it? About being able to, having agency and doing whatever you want. So whether or not you decide to have, marry and have kids, or if you decide to get your major and get the big job and everything, neither one of those things should be more valuable than the other. And I just think that the old books did a very good job of that, where it was still about Anne Shirley. It wasn't about her becoming her husband's wife or becoming a mom. I mean, like, yes, that was part of the story, but like, at least, I don't know, maybe I should like reread the books again, but like, it still seemed like it was still like about her and not about her becoming an accessory to someone else's life. But anyway, but there are several iterations that have been produced from this book series over the years, but there are two that have I'm gonna be honest, I only care about. I'm sure that I know they're older ones, and I feel like I should watch them. But the two that I have watched stand on their own, and they're really great. So the first one is very near and dear to my heart. Harken back to the 1980s TV movie Canadian series that I had DVD collection that I had mentioned, right? So that one was written and directed by Kevin Sullivan and Joe Weisenfield. So this was in the 1980s. So women are a little bit more empowered now at this time. So they decided to kind of rewrite the story, if you will, where she remains a writer. And she doesn't necessarily give that up, even though she ends up getting married to Gilbert, who is the love interest of the story, and I'll get to that later. Kind of find herself in the world, and she ends up kind of being like a teacher at this big fancy school and all this stuff, before even considering getting married to Gilbert, kind of like doing her own, like finding herself first. And then even after that, like she's still pursuing writing and stuff well into the third movie. But anyway, yeah. So I will say the lady who played Anne Shirley, oh my God, what was her name? Megan Follows, there you go. Megan Follows, oh my God, I just, in love. Like, she did just such a good job of again, Anne Shirley being unabashedly herself, and just like how like dramatic she was, and how spirited she was, and how strong she was. She did such a good job of just demonstrating that, not to mention the iconic, like, it's, and this is cause like, I'm talking about the 1980s version, and I'm gonna talk about like the 2017 version in a second here. But I just kind of love how both of them, kind of in the books, and just every iteration of it, is very reflective of the time. And if you look at the fashion of the, 1980s, version of Anne of Green Gables, you'll notice that, like, everything, all the costumes are bigger, the hair is definitely more poofy and big, and it's so good. As far as other aspects of this series being kind of formative to me as a person, I will say Gilbert fucking Blythe, specifically the Jonathan Crombie as Gilbert Blythe, the love interest to Anne Shirley, was definitely the blueprint that kind of set the precedent, if you will, for my type. Very smart, wants to help people. In the books, he ends up wanting to be a doctor, so like he's very ambitious, but like not in a like full of himself kind of way. And it's the very classic love rivals, if you will, like enemies to lovers, where like, I don't know, it's so dumb, cause like the iconic scene is that it's Anne's first day of school. She's a brand new kid there. So everyone's already, tittering about her. And then, Gilbert wants to, sees this new girl and is just like, oh my God, who is she? But I'm an immature boy. So I'm gonna, kind of try to get her attention, but I can't. So I'll just, I know, what a brilliant idea. I'll just like throw little like paper balls just to get her attention. And then he calls her. He's like, hey, cause he doesn't know her name. But also, I don't know, maybe it's because like I'm not like I wasn't born a redhead, so like I may not be familiar firsthand with the stigma, but like he goes carrots, and then that's one of the big things in the first few books, is that she's really conscious about her hair being red because everyone remarks about it and they call it ugly, which is dumb, by the way. But they're like, yeah, it's so ugly because it's red. And again, very weird. People were weird about it. Anyway, but yeah, the carrots, and so she's really sensitive about it. And then she goes like, don't you dare call me that. And she doesn't like say it like say it normal in like a normal like speaking tone. Like she doesn't shout it. She like fucking screeches it at him with like all the fury in her body. But she doesn't yell, she doesn't shout, she screeches this at him. It's like, don't you dare call me that. And then like gets a tablet, cause again, this is in the 1800s, so like they write on little like chalkboards, and she like smashes it over his head, and then she's the one that gets in trouble, and then he's just all like, oh wait, no, I was just trying to get her attention, I'm sorry. And then she's like, no, and then like that's the whole beginning of their like very, very slow burn where like for the first few years, like she like absolutely like hates him, and Gilbert just spends like years and years and years trying to like make up for it, be nice to her, apologize, go like he freaking like in the 1980s version, he gives up his scholarship, to her. Like he specifically turns it down so that, and I'm pretty sure this isn't necessarily how it works, but maybe because they're such a small town and because they were like the first, the top two candidates for it. No, I think that was exactly what it is. Like they were the first, the two top candidates for that scholarship. I think that's how he was able to give it up, so that she could get it. So she could pay for her college, cause there was like a whole bunch of other stuff that was going on in her life, and she was like gonna, like, oh, I guess I can't go to school cause it was a whole thing. But yeah, which in real life I wouldn't recommend cause college is kind of expensive and that's crazy, but like, it's just, you just gotta like ride the whole ride to like understand that they as corny as the use of the phrase is, end game, truly end game relationship. Gilbert John Blythe put in the hours to woo this woman so he could be with it, so she could look at him like the original simp, the OG, like, I will literally do anything for you to breathe in my direction kind of situation, but like not like in the incel way, and like more in the like, it's so good. It's so good. And then, alternatively, and this is where, like my bisexuality kind of maybe possibly awakened, because literally, okay, there's this other character named Diana Barry, who, unlike Anne Shirley, who comes from humble beginnings to, definitely in a way better situation, but like still Marilla and Matthew Cuthbert, like they're not made out of money. So and Marilla is the lady who ends up raising Anne Shirley is a very simple woman who does not believe in, lavish things. Slash, I don't really have the money to do that, versus Diana Barry, her family, the Barrys, they come from a very wealthy family, so worlds apart, but they are neighbors, and, they end up becoming best friends, or bosom friends, as the book, verbatim puts it, as Anne Shirley calls them, and there's just so much about it that was very, like, they're best friends, but, like, they're literally montages of them, like, and I know that's, like, a weird thing where, like, I mean, girls can just be friends, but also, like, it was to me, watching it as an adult, that was, like, fully, well, not fully, but has a fuller realization of her sexuality, definitely kind of, it was giving sapphic, like, literally they're just, there's this scene where, like, they get in trouble, cause, like, Anne accidentally, like, pours, spoiler alert, they have a tea party together, and Anne Shirley accidentally replaces what was supposed to be a non-alcoholic cranberry drink with a cranberry cordial or something like that, and they get, like, obliterated, wasted, and so of course they get in trouble, and Diana's mom is just like, you can't see my daughter ever again, and all that, and then they, like, run to meet each other. They have a fucking, like, they have, like, a little, like, lantern code where, like, they Morse code each other to, like, tell each other, like, if they want to meet each other. And because there's, like, again, this is, like, in a very, like, not necessarily podunk town, but, like, there's a lot of forest. There's a lot of forest in this, and the houses are very spread apart. So it's very, it's not podunk, but it's very country. And so they, like, run through they have to, like, run through the forest to, like, meet each other, and they're, like, sobbing and, like, clutching onto each other, and they're just all, like, they cut a lock of their hair for each other to have, and then they swear to each other, and they go, like, you have to, and Anne's just like, you have to swear to me, that you'll be that we'll be bosom friends for as long as the sun and the moon shall endure, and it's so good, and then, like, there's, like, other montages where, like, you know, they're just hanging out, just girls being girls, but then, like, there's this one scene where, like, they're, like, lovingly looking at each other overlooking a cliff, over the sea of Prince Edward Island, and it's very sapphic coded. So that's the 1980s version. And then there is the 2017 version, which was written by Moira Wally Beckett. And I believe, I don't know, Anne was played by Amy McNulty, there we go. And then Gilbert's played by Lucas something. And then Diana is, I know she has, like, her own, like, YouTube channel or something. I don't know. But anyway, all of them did, like, a really, really good job. And I think they did a really good job of fleshing out the world of Anne of Green Gables and the different characters and stuff, because, like, there's literally, like, a whole litany of a bevy of characters that the books definitely, like, explore, but they I think I would say the TV series definitely does a really good job doing a more like intimate look into all the characters and stuff, which is really, really cool. And like they did like an entire episode on like on like an inside look of the Berries, where like they go bankrupt because of something. I forget. They kind of like argue, and then like it's a whole the like expectations of like Diana Barry and like the pressure that she faces from her parents, and how like it even ends up affecting Minnie May, the younger sister of Diana Barry, because she sees that her older sister is not having fun being the proper, perfect lady that she is supposed to be. And I think that's really cool. And also bonus points. Okay, so there's this old lady who is the grandma of Diana Barry that Anne Shirley ends up becoming good friends with, because they stay at her house for like an event or something. And she talks about how she had a best friend who and they were so close that neither one of them ever got married, because they just wanted to be together. And they ended up getting a house together, and like living with each other until like the other one had died. And she has a picture of this quote unquote best friend on her on her nightstand or something, and how she misses her and all this. And again, it never clicked to me when I was younger, and it only clicked when I watched the 2017 version, that like it was that whole situation was giving, and they were roommates, history rewrites, gay people, essentially. Yeah, no, absolutely. But in the 2017 version, yeah, no, Your Honor, they were in love. They were in love. And, in the 2017 version, they even have like this, the aunt throws like, or the grandma throws like this, well, not grandma, because she didn't get married, so how would she be the grandma? The older aunt. Yes, the older aunt of Diana Barry. That's what she was. Yeah. But she throws this extravagant party in memory of her loving partner who was so full of life, and she was so in love with her, and just like, it was so good. And then, I don't know. And they added like a whole bunch of like new characters, which I actually really, really liked, just to kind of, I don't know, they were just kind of like hitting all the things, but like in a kind of like organic way. Like there's this character, who's named Cole, who also, hasn't quite come out of the closet, and Diana Barry, also has not realized that her aunt's best friend is definitely 100% her lover. And she kind of like struggles with that, because again, she comes from like a very, her background is not only wealth, but also very traditional, very proper. So she kind of like struggles with this idea, and, Anne is just all like, but it's love. It's beautiful. It's great. And just like, and Cole's not even completely out yet at the time. But like a lot of this, because this party is supposed to be like full of like free-minded, free-spirited, very like pretty much like hippies of the day at the time, and some of these older people, like Cole ends up having a conversation with some of them, and he starts like realizing, he feels very more at ease with this crowd, as many queer people might be able to identify with when they find their crowd later on in life, after they've graduated, whether it be in college or whatever community they end up in finding themselves. yeah. It's very cool. And also shout out to the new highlights of everything that was going on at the time of this point in Canadian history. What it got? They didn't even talk about it in the books, but like they talk about the residential schools. There's a native indigenous character in there, that ends up going to one of the residential schools. Which, fun fact, the last one, only closed up shop in the 90s, which is shockingly pretty recent. At least, like, to me, anyway, it is just nuts. But anyway, if you don't know what residential schools are, they were essentially, schools that were where the government would take, would it be the US government or evidently the Canadian government, they would take the children of indigenous communities in order to reform them into good Christian people so they can save them from their quote unquote savage ways. Like, it was very, very cringe. It was very, it was very yuck. It was very, no, thank you. No fucking thank you. Full on disrespectfully, no. But anyway, yeah. So they have like a whole thing of that, and it's kind of a shame though, because the 2017 version, it feels like they rushed that part of the story. It didn't really have like it felt like there wasn't really a good, satisfying ending, for that part of the story, because it felt like, and this was like towards the end of it, the last few episodes, where it felt like very last minute they were told, hey, this is your last season, wrap it up. Because it felt like they kind of cut out a lot, which is kind of a shame, because there were a lot of things that I felt like they would have been able to explore really well had they been given the time and the budget for just a few more episodes. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, but yes, they talk about the residential schools, and they add in the existence of black people, which is really cool, because I know a lot of people, like slaves from the South would run to Canada so that they could escape, and that's a whole thing, because a lot of times, unfortunately, they were kind of, my friend was telling me about it, where slaves would run to Canada and then they would end up being slaves anyway. But anyway, yes, but just having black people in a period piece, not as slaves, essentially like this family, the like father of the black family, ends up becoming best friends with Gilbert, and they meet on a ship that is going around the world, because Gilbert kind of, I don't know, his dad died, so he had to like go find himself or whatever. And he meets this guy, Sebastian, and then he ends up and he tells him like, I have a farm back at home, but like I don't really want it. And Sebastian said like, bro, you're so stupid. Like, I would give anything to be a farm. We're like, okay, well, how about you? If you don't have any family back at home, why don't you come home with me? I don't have anybody at home, and I would love help with the farm. And if you want to work the farm so bad, well, then you can come help me with mine if you want. So he does, and they end up being like business brothers, and it's really cool. So I don't know, but, and that's also not canonically part of the books, but they should be part of the world, because they were part of the world historically. And that's all the things that I thought were really cool about the 2017 version of the Anne of Green Gables franchise. But yeah, it's just, Anne of Green Gables will always have a very special place in my heart, for sure. And yeah, that's my rant on in Green Gables. I don't know. Like, hopefully that helped. Okay, cool. I'm glad it did. 'Cause, you know, you're my best friend, and, I would do anything, for you, so if, I'm glad this ramble helped. Do you think, I mean, no pressure, I mean, we can honestly, like, I don't mind, I mean, we can, you know, chill here, we can chill, maybe, you know, just hide out, like, in your room, or, yeah? Okay. Well, whatever you want to do, I'm totally fine with that, but if you feel like you're ready to get back out there, then okay. Just know that I'll be there the whole time. Alright. Let's go.